Tiana, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Thank you so much for coming here and being in my podcast, Lucky Last.
No worries, thanks for having me.
I would like to introduce you briefly. You are an Australian athlete.
Yes.
You competed at the Olympic Games in the category boxing 54 kilos.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And you have a fantastic journey because you started actually quite late.
Yes,
And
I did.
within 4 or 5 years, you've been able to get your spot in the Olympics. So I'm very excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, that was a good intro. You nailed it.
Thank you. So I know you speak a bit of French because you just went to Paris, which is quite
Minimal,
that's great.
very minimal. Please don't test me. Yeah.
No, I just would like to understand. Athlete that goes to Olympics are the best of the best in each country,
Yes,
and you are obviously the best, but you had such a quick ascension. People are training for that their whole life.
Yes, totally.
And
yeah.
you started during COVID, if I...
Yeah, so it was just a bit before then, so
Okay.
2019, but because of COVID, that kind of stopped me from competing for a little while, but I did start training in 2019, yeah, 2019.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So here again, your journey is fascinating because you went to the gym. One day you didn't wake up and say, hey, I want to do boxing. It didn't come like that.
Yes.
And you didn't say, oh, I want to go to the Olympics and compete for my country. But I would love to understand, how did you go to that point eventually?
It feels like a bit of a blur now, but when I started training, it was literally just to get myself moving.
Yeah.
I found going to a weights gym extremely boring, and I wanted to do something else that was fitness-based as well, and it just happened to be boxing. I found some fitness classes within a local gym, so it was a commercial gym that I was training at first.
Okay.
But I saw a couple of female boxing trainers there organising a box fit class. So at first I was like, oh, maybe I should just give that a go. It looks fun. It looks like you're learning a skill. So I did it a couple of times, and then I saw the female trainers actually hitting the bag themselves. And I started watching them, and I was like, well, there's obviously a lot more going on with this sport, like fitness, as opposed to what I was doing. So it kind of just sparked my curiosity about it. I thought they just looked very cool doing it as well. And I just thought, I'm going to give this a proper go. And they even encouraged me to go to a proper gym to learn the actual skill set behind what they were doing. But yeah, it was literally just to move and as a way to improve my fitness and have a healthier lifestyle, really, yeah.
Okay, super interesting. So
Yeah.
this woman pushed you to go to the right gym
Yeah.
to start training properly, if I can say it like that. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. I think she just saw that I was interested in the sport, and she saw that I had a bit of natural ability as well, like I was taking to it pretty well. So yeah, they were like, find a gym in the area, see how you like it. And I didn't think about anything else. It wasn't about competing, or at that point particularly, I was not even thinking about sparring or any kind of contact. It was just like, what's going on with boxing? What is this sport?
So you went to this new gym and you started boxing, and I guess you got addicted.
Yeah, I think you just get obsessed very quickly. You kind of like, oh, what's going on here? It just sort of opens your world up to the whole, how beautiful boxing really is. It's not just a couple of people just punching on. There's a lot more going on. So going to this gym, it was a small gym in Chippendale called The Vault. And it was a small gym, but that's kind of all you need in boxing. You don't need much in a boxing gym. You need like a couple of bags, good trainers, some mats, your own gloves, and you're pretty much set. But I got there and met the community there, and I think that's kind of what made me stay there, is like how at the time I was working a full-time job in advertising. So it was a 9-to-5 job, and it was kind of like my outlet at the time, just to sort of zone out of my responsibilities and just kind of like, hit something. It feels good to hit things sometimes and just like let some energy out. And I just fell in love with, the community there, the coaches, and it felt good to do. So I didn't question it. I just kept doing it because it felt good.
And so I don't feel the same because I'm not a professional athlete going to the Olympics, but I'm training every morning.
Yes.
And it gives me endorphin and I feel so much better.
Yeah.
It was around COVID, everything was locked down. It was a tough time. Work was painful for everyone as well at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think that it was as well your only way to escape
Yeah, I
everything
think
else?
I'm trying to remember because when lockdown happened, I had decided that I wanted to do, like, maybe just get into more, be a trainer at some
Yes.
capacities, to be like, oh, I've seen all these really talented coaches and how they conduct classes and how they coach people. Like, what does it take to be a good coach? So I was interested in just being in that space, like in the gym. How could I get good at that? And I think when COVID happened, I was very sort of like put off by my 9-to-5 job. I think it was kind of, I was just asking myself, am I really going to do this for the rest of my life? The work that I was doing felt like incredibly. And I just didn't feel like anything that I was doing was of any value, like it was benefiting anyone. The work that I was doing just was kind of going into the abyss and not being recognised for anything. And it just wasn't a fulfilling thing to do. So I think at that time I was like, oh, I'm just going to try something else. And I was 26 and I had, 25, 26. And I've done so many different jobs. I've tried like everything that you could think of. So I think a part of that's kind of why I was kind of like, oh, let's just give it a go. I wasn't particularly worried about failing. I was just like, I don't care. I'm just going to give it a crack and see what happens. So I got my cert 2 and 3 in fitness, 3 and 4, sorry, in fitness. Yeah. And that was in the city.
Yeah.
I met some really cool people in the course there that I did. I'm still friends with now. But it just sort of opened my world up to a different form of occupation. Like, I didn't have to be sitting on my ass all day because it's extremely like exhausting being on, sitting on an office desk all the time, like
Yes.
in its own way, like mentally exhausting as well.
Oh, I don't think we are meant to do that.
Yeah.
I really question
Yeah.
if the human being is meant to do a 9 to 5, like 50 weeks a year. Like, it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It not only it impacts your body, but it impacts your mind. I work from home. I'm in front of my laptop 4 days a week.
Yes.
It's just draining. It's really draining. I don't think it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Some people are thriving, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's not for everyone. This is what I want
yeah.
to say, and I absolutely understand why at some point you thought that maybe you needed something to fulfill you and bring you why you want to get up in the morning. So
exactly, and I like people, so that's why I thought like being more interactive with people was probably where I saw myself better suited. It wasn't in front of just the computer and emailing people, and I needed to be in contact with people, I think, consistently. So I just thought, let's see where I find myself in the space of the gym, a boxing gym specifically. Then, obviously COVID happened, it was lockdown. I was doing personal training sessions in the park, which was actually so much fun. Like, I actually really enjoyed that time connecting with people and just figuring out another way to make money at that point as well. It sort of forced a lot of people to be a little bit more creative, and obviously a really hard time for a lot of businesses. So getting people outside still and trying to, have a good time in a shitty situation was kind of nice. But
you're doing something for them too. It's not only for you, it's for them, getting them out of their
Exactly.
4 walls and being able to feel better after the session.
Exactly. At that point I was thinking about fighting. Like, I had sparring sessions, and I'd started at a new gym as well, No Quarter it's called now, so I'm still at that gym now. It's in Alexandria. But started training there, and I think at that point, like, as soon as fights were back on, like they were 100% on, because I was lined up to fight, but they had been canned because of COVID and events, just eventually all events being cancelled. So then as soon as they were back on, I was just putting my hand up for everything. Like, I had my first fight, which was the most terrifying thing ever. Was like so nervous before that fight. I think just being confronted with someone that just kind of wanted to take your head off, and the level of aggression that you feel when you're inside of the ring is like nothing that I've ever experienced before. So it was kind of like this massive adrenaline dump, and afterwards I was like, wow, I won as well, that helps if you win, obviously. So I won, and I was like, wow, like, maybe there's like something to this. Maybe I'll just keep going and see what happens.
How did you manage this? I can't even imagine myself being ready to go on a fight, and then I get in this ring and I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
How did you manage this for your first time? The stress, the adrenaline, how,
I don't think I managed it at all, to be fair. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of threw myself in that deep end and just trusted the people around me. I had my coach, I had teammates there with me, I had my family come and watch me. I had a lot of support actually for my first fight. Like, everyone was very much behind me and seen me, how hard I was working in the gym. But honestly, like, at that point, I think about it, I'm like, what was I even doing? Like, why was I fighting? I was like 26 years old. Like, why was I don't even know. I think it was just, it was giving me like a little bit, a goal, some purpose. You know, I was like, oh, I'm training towards this fight. Like, I want to win. I want to see how hard this is and how far I can push myself. Like, that's the reasoning behind why I started boxing as well, is because I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I wasn't happy with the person that I was as well. Like, I didn't really like myself that much, to be honest. I was like, I don't really have anything to be proud of right now. Like, I don't feel confident either in the person that I am. I'm not like walking around proud of something that I've done. Because at that point, I felt like I had done nothing. I was just like searching for the right thing. So to have this goal and be like, you know, I've got 8 weeks to get ready for this fight. I don't know who I'm fighting, what their experience is. It just didn't matter at that point either. I was just like, how far can I push myself, and how fit and strong and good at boxing can I get in this time? So making it to that point, climbing through the ropes and boxing well enough to win at that point. I don't think I was very good when I first started, but winning and having that sense of relief afterwards and having your hand raised was really an incredible feeling, you know, to accomplish something and to do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's been, now that I think about it, it's probably been like a consistent thing that I've loved about boxing, is because you're always having to uphold your own word. Like, you're always saying to yourself, this is what I have to do. These are the boxes that I have to tick every week. And once you do them, like, you feel so powerful and you feel so fulfilled. Like, it's really an experience that I hope everyone experiences in their own way. It doesn't have to be through boxing, but yeah.
So I guess you are saying that boxing brought you self-confidence.
So much, yeah.
And give you some purpose and give you your why, what you are doing that.
Yeah.
This is not a normal sport. I would say, sorry, no offense. It's a normal sport, but it's not something that we often see, especially with women.
Yes, yeah.
How did your entourage welcome that?
Yeah, I think that is a good question. I think everyone was a bit shocked. Like, my mum was definitely like, why? Like, why do you want to get punched in the face for? And I was like, it's not just that. There's a lot more going on. But my partner at the time, he was very supportive of it. Like, he grew up training in martial arts, and I think that helped me a lot, just to have someone at home be like, yeah, you know, you could do this, and like respect it for what it is. My brothers and my sisters, they were also very supportive of it, but were kind of like, oh, it's a bit weird, all right. It's a bit left field. Like, why aren't you just working in an office job? Like, why are you doing this?
Else.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't grow up like an athlete. I never played any sport to like a state or national level. So it was definitely everyone just kind of like, where did this come from? Like, where, and why boxing too? Yeah, it was very, I think, strange for a lot of people.
And I can imagine that some people were like, oh, it's going to go away, and then they show the resilience and the perseverance, and they're like, okay, it's staying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's so strange to think about now, because I'm not sure. I wasn't thinking about where it was going to lead me. I was just fighting. I was just putting my hand up and being like, yeah, I'll fight this person, because at the time it just felt good to do. And I didn't really know what it meant to keep winning and to keep doing well in the state, and where it was going to lead me at all. So all of a sudden I'm at like a state titles championship. So that means you're the best in New South Wales. And if you win that, then you get considered for our nationals, Australian nationals. So that means you're going up against the best in the country. So best in every state. And at that point I was so indifferent. I was just like, I don't really care.
But you are not expecting anything.
No, win or lose, you know, whatever, it's fine. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're going to go to nationals. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, all right. And then my coach is like, this is quite a big deal, actually. if you win, it could really change some things in your life. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. So I'm just going, I can feel it starting to get a bit serious. I can feel like people are paying a lot more attention to me, and people are like, oh, who is this? Who is this girl? Like, she's kind of come out of nowhere. And then 2022, going to nationals and then winning it. I fought twice. And at that point I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, best in Australia, let's go. And then all of a sudden you're being given all these opportunities. You're being invited on camps. You're asked to go overseas and actually represent Australia. And at that point I was like, wow, to represent your country is like, it's such a privilege, such an honor. And I was kind of taken aback. I was like, oh, me? Like, okay, I'll come. I'll see what I'm doing. But honestly, it was a jump in level, like from, you know, your home gym, and then to all of a sudden be on the elite team was very scary, definitely.
How did you manage the stress linked to that and the pressure? Because suddenly you are someone and you need to represent your own country. The whole country is looking at you and like, you need to perform. How did you manage that?
I think I'm a very adaptable person, I would say. Like, I've been in a lot of different situations. I grew up moving around a lot. I think I can like manage new environments quite well. But in saying that, I think I just didn't really know how to manage it too much. I was just like paying attention to what other people were doing on the team, like people that had been there before, seeing what they did and what their processes were, what was making them calm before a fight. I remember our first trip was to Hungary, and this was like in the middle of their winter. So it was snowing, it was freezing there. I'd never been to Europe before. And when we landed, it just was so cold and dark and like, it just, it's sad. It seemed like super scary. I was like, what am I doing? Where am I? Like, what is this competition? Who am I gonna fight? And then to draw Hungary, so I drew Hungary, that means I would have to fight Hungary in my first fight in the tournament.
Okay.
So it's like a randomized draw, and there was a lot of competitors. So you could have fought people from all over Europe. It was quite a big tournament. But so in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm in Hungary. I'm fighting the home girl, and I've never done on my first fight. Yeah. And I've gone out there, and I think I was really nervous. I think because I was part of the team and I knew everyone's watching me as well. Everyone sort of wants to see how everyone else performs and how do you handle the pressure. I think that was kind of the point. They're just trying to push you in corner to see how you react, see how you perform. I lost that fight, so I felt terrible afterwards. It was tough, but I like held my own in there too. So I think looking back on it, I was extremely proud of how I performed regardless. And I think the coaches were too, enough so to continue to keep me onto the team. Yeah, it was terrifying, but like such a monumental moment in my growth as a boxer, definitely.
Very powerful. That's very interesting what you say, because you actually said I lost, but it was a turning point in my journey, and this is where I really grow. And you said it, I was actually very proud of myself, and I think that's very important, that the journey is long and difficult, but you need to celebrate the small success. Even if it doesn't look like a win for some of them, it's still a win for you. And I think that's really important.
And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from boxing is because you're going to win and lose. It's like very inevitable that you're going to face a lot of very challenging fights and you're going to keep losing. But I've witnessed people just dust themselves off, stand up and go again consistently. And you have to. It's just all part of your progress as a person. And I think if you remember that progress isn't linear, that you're not just things aren't just going to happen for you in a straight line and very easily. You're going to face a lot of peaks and valleys along the way. So if you accept that earlier, I think your journey is going to be a lot more endurable for yourself. You'll be able to be like, oh, I've got to take on the bad days in order to enjoy the good.
Yes, absolutely true. So, end 23, you went to the Pacific Games. Did you know at that time that if you were going to win, you will go to the Olympics?
Yes, so we found out in the beginning of 2023, I believe it was. We were in that conversation of like, hey, this is the pathway to the Olympics, which was crazy because I didn't even think about doing that. So to be in that conversation, I was like, wow. And my coaches asked me like, is that a goal of yours? Do you want to go to the Olympics? And I was like, I didn't think it was a goal, but yeah, let's go. Let's give it a go. Why not? If I'm in a good position to get that place, why not? This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm not sure I'll ever do it again. So definitely let's go. And that's sort of what that whole year was in prep to make. You have to win nationals and then win gold at the Pacific Games. That was, that's what we had to do,
So you won the nationals and
Yes.
then you won a gold medal
at the Pacific Games, which was, I mean, it was in the Solomon Islands, it was incredibly hot. I was like, making weight there was probably the easiest I've ever made weight because you're just sweating all the time. But it was, I'm not sure I've felt pressure like that before. It's just knowing that if I lost, then I wasn't going to get my ticket. And we went there with a big team. We went with 13 boxers, and we worked incredibly hard that year to really make sure that all of us would qualify. And I was first up on our team. Yeah.
Of course.
I was like, you better not lose. You better not. You got to start this on a high so that everyone can follow you. It was so intense. You put a lot of that pressure on yourself too. Like at that point, I had a lot of people behind me, a lot of my family, I had sponsors, and you feel that weight on you. I think I definitely got better at managing that, like just to let it go and know that the people that follow you are proud of you regardless. But definitely in that moment, like I was dying of heat, exhaustion. I'd never felt so tired in my life. And as most of the Australian boxers, a lot of us don't sit in the corner, like in between the rounds.
Okay.
But at this fight, after the first round, I was like, give me this seat. I need to sit. I definitely need to sit. Like I'm so exhausted. I need to give my body like every rest that it can right now so that I can go back out there and secure the win. But
it helped.
Oh, I think it's a mental thing too. Is just to say you're ready for the next round. But yeah, incredibly a terrifying, stressful, pressuresome moment. But I got through it. Yeah.
But how did you live the relief when you finally won?
Oh, I've never felt relief like that in my life.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch how they raised my hand, because I knew at that point that I'd won because they'd said unanimous decision, and I knew that I'd won the first 2 rounds. So I was so happy. I just started I was giddy. I was dancing and I was ready. I was like, yeah, let's go. I was ready for them to raise my hand. So when they did, I was like, it was the best thing. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to the Olympics. Like, we did it.
Yeah, we did it, yes. Yeah. And you say we, because it's a teamwork.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have been in that position if it wasn't for everyone behind me, my family, my coaches, mentors, my friends, my teammates in the gym. A lot of them are the reason why I got so good so quickly as well. They're the people pushing you and believing in you and making you show up every day.
Yeah, so you said community is really important, and it looks like you have a strong community around you. You got as well some extra community and pressure from your mom's country.
Yeah, you noticed that? Yeah.
Yeah. So you not only had Australia backing you up, but you had as well Cook Islands.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you manage all of that as well?
I think it's very manageable. I was just very grateful for all of their support, and the reason why they were so supportive is because of my mum. Like she's very present in the Cook Island community and very active. Like she's always involved in community things and at community events, and she knows a lot of people too. She really pushed for that. She was like down everyone's throats on Facebook, like this is my daughter, she's going to the Olympics, you better support, let's go. Like sending it to local newspapers and stuff. I have her to be thankful for doing all of that because she did rally all of the Cook Islands behind me, and I'm incredibly grateful for that.
And if I understood correctly, you are the first Cook Island background descendant athlete who has been selected to an Olympic game?
The first. Yeah. There is another Cook Islander on our team, Tadamwana, he's the super heavyweight, but he would be the second. Yeah,
it's amazing. But that's great. You opened the door and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but he's gonna love this. I can't wait to send him this.
So you are saying that the community played a part in your success.
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
Without the community, you probably will not be where you are today.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is something that I see constantly when I interview people.
Yeah.
A lot of things coming back, and one of them is community.
Yes.
Like a lot of people, women are saying that without the community, they probably will not be able to be where they are today.
Yeah.
Which I find really powerful. So thank you.
Yeah.
And now I would like to know more about the Olympics and the prep to go there, if
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So Pacific Games were end of 2023.
Yes.
So you basically had 6 months, a bit less to train.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. No, it was good though because we actually found out early. Some sports find out very late.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were in a good position to prep.
That's
definitely.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you prepped at your gym with your trainer?
Yeah. So we were actually overseas every month or on camp. We were somewhere, not in our hometowns.
Okay.
Every month to the lead up to the Olympics. And then I think we left in July. Oh, I left Sydney in July to go to Brisbane. So our head national coach, Santiago Nieves, he's there with Shara Roma, and they've got a gym up there. So they've got a good sort of setup there for all of us to go up and train. We were there for 2 weeks before we went to Germany.
Okay.
And then we were in Germany for, I think, another week or two. And then from Germany straight to Paris. Yeah.
So you traveled a lot.
Traveled
you
a
had
lot.
to
Yeah.
make a lot of sacrifices to.
Oh yeah, I was
go
a
there.
full-time athlete.
Yeah.
I had to be. There's no way that I was going to be able to work somewhere else and still be able to commit to all of the travel plans that we had and the camps and just the full-time training schedule it's very full on. You're talking about 2 sessions a day, like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a full-time commitment, definitely.
So 6 times a week, you had to make a lot of concessions, and yet in a short time.
Yeah, I think it's because I was put with pretty amazing athletes straight away. So I knew, that's the standard. Like this is, and it's not so much, you sort of not looking at it like it's a job or like a chore, this thing that you have to do. It was more of a lifestyle change. And that's why I loved boxing, because it did completely change my life. I started boxing and all of a sudden I'm going to bed early, I'm waking up early, I stopped drinking completely. I'm eating the right foods because I can see the immediate impact it has on my body when I do eat the right foods and how I train and how I perform. So I was just seeing all these immediate effects of what training can do to your life and completely change your lifestyle. Then I was like, well, why would I want to stop doing this? And that's kind of what outlook I had on it was the eating specifically, because a lot of people ask about that. It's more of it's a lifestyle change. It's not like
it's
if you
just
look
not your diet.
if you look at it like it's a diet, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to follow through with it. You have to actually make food that you enjoy. You have to have meals where you look forward to having and you're excited about, and make desserts that, if you have a sweet tooth, desserts that you look forward to having, and you have to flip it around so that it's not a diet.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense. So if I understand correctly, your journey is filled with consistency, discipline, self-discipline, sacrifice as well, community.
Yes, yeah.
You mentioned in the past that this year you wanted to focus on your confidence and self-confidence. How are you going with that?
I think maybe when I was initially asked about that, I hadn't, so as part of my prep for the Olympics, I started working with a mindset coach.
Yes.
So this is a woman named Claudine Chi, and she, at that point, we had only just met, and I think we had done maybe 8 weeks of preparation before the Olympics, which is a very short time. Even she was like, this is incredibly late. Usually I would be given a lot more time to work with you so that you can really solidify the things that make you strong in your self-beliefs. But I'll tell you, even in those 8 weeks, like, she completely changed my life and my mindset, absolutely. And I always tell her that because she really flipped everything upside down. And I think that was really the missing piece to my preparation. Was physically, I was doing everything that I could. All the extras, I was doing it. I was extra running sessions, my strength sessions, my boxing, sparring sessions, technical bag sessions, all of the things that was asked of me, I was doing it. So realizing that boxing it's really half mental as well, is that you need to have, your head in the right spot. It needs to be in the right place in order for you to do well. So having her behind me felt like a little secret weapon. I was like very incredibly grateful to have her at the time that I did, and I think it did wonders for me because I made some hard choices at that time. In order for me to be successful, I needed to flip my negative self-talk too. I had a lot of negative self-talk going on, and she really made me aware of a lot of the things that I was really in control of and that I was making a problem myself. It wasn't any external factors, it was really things that I could change, and I did change. And leading up to my fight, I'd never felt more confident ever in a fight. I praise Claudine for that, definitely. Yeah.
Who is the person that is inspiring you the most at the moment, and how does it impact you?
At the moment? Good question. I think at the moment, I think it's a couple people actually. It's my mum, definitely. She's always been someone that inspires me because she's just such a workhorse. Like, she just does everything that needs to be done, and if there's a problem, she makes it not a problem. Like, she's very much a solutions thinker. Yeah. You know, so if something comes your way, she's very much like, she's not like sitting there pointing the fingers and who's the person to blame. She's like, oh, this is what we need to do to fix it. And I think I've always seen that in her, and I've always tried to have that mentality with any kind of problem that has come my way, definitely. Another person that kind of inspires me a lot is my best friend, Clem. I think we've been friends for 20 years, and we went on holiday together.
That's beautiful.
We went on holiday together after the Olympics, so it was really nice to just switch off for a little bit and enjoy Europe in its entirety and eat all the things and whatever I wanted to do, basically. But I think spending that time with her made me realise like how much of a resilient person that she is. I've always known that, but I think she's someone that hadn't been dealt the best hand in life, but she's been someone that has picked up the pieces and made things work regardless of her personal situations. So I admire people that can do that and can just get on with it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So did she meet you in Europe after the games?
Yeah, okay. So I met her in Paris. Yeah.
Okay, and then talking of Paris, so you went to the Olympic Games, you competed and you lost.
Yes.
How did you manage this?
The loss, I was heartbroken, honestly. Like I felt pretty depressed, honestly, for the first 2 weeks after that. I think it was due to really putting everything into it. I don't think I've worked so hard at anything in my life. I don't think I've ever just put all my eggs in that basket and said, I'm going to give this my all. I've done everything that I think I can do at this point. I don't think I could have done anything else, honestly.
So
looking back at it, I don't have any regrets at all. No. Like, looking back on it, I think I feel very much at peace with it because I raised my own bar. Like, I went so beyond what I thought my potential was, and I was so proud of myself for just going there. And I went against the silver medalist. Like, she ended up winning silver in my division. She's very good. Like, I knew that I was going up against a very hard competitor. I think that's why going into the fight, I just decided I don't care. Yeah. I don't care about that. I'm not going to give her any respect.
Yes.
I was very much like in my own corner, backing myself, believing that I was going to win. And I went into that fight, into the Olympic Games in general, thinking that I was going to come out with a medal. And I think you have to have so much self-belief, more belief, even when no one else might believe in you. You still have to figure it out. The loss was very tough because I just had to sit with that for a bit and be like, oh man, came all this way, it's over and I've lost. Like, it was, when you put so much into it and then you come back empty-handed, you're like, damn, you can't help but feel terrible about yourself. And think about all the people that was behind you too. Like, my mum was there, I had 2 of my aunties like travel halfway around the world to come and support me. My coach was there. And then just thinking about all the sponsors and the people at home that tuned in and was watching. It was a lot of that too. So just sitting with it and feeling that you have to.
Yeah, of course.
You can't just like brush it off and
absolutely.
So having that time was
be like that. Absolutely.
I think like having that time was definitely needed. I think after that, and particularly coming back home now after my holiday, Looking back on it, I feel very like free of any negative thoughts about it right now. Like
That's
I'm actually
fantastic.
I'm in a good mental space about it. I think, yeah, I'm incredibly proud of myself for going to the Olympics, and
Amen.
like performing on that stage was the most incredible experience ever. Walking out and like hearing my name be called out, and the atmosphere in there was amazing. It's the coolest thing I've ever done in my life, definitely.
Hundreds of million people, you know, watching. It's something you didn't win, but you won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like you didn't get the medal, but you won much more.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely, exactly. I didn't actually leave empty-handed. Like my evolution as a person, like I've completely changed because of boxing, and I'm so grateful for it and everything. My whole journey, it's been amazing.
That's fantastic. What's the best piece of advice that you ever received, and how has it influenced you?
I think, good question. I've read 12 Rules for Life. It's a Jordan Peterson book, and I always remember there's a quote in it that says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not who somebody else is today.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, so it really resonated with me because we are very guilty of doing that, right? Comparing ourselves, our journeys to other people's, and where we see ourselves and where we think we should be. But really we're all on our own journeys, and when you look at how far you've come, you'd be incredibly proud of yourself. You do have to just compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not anybody else today.
That's a very good piece of advice. Would you have anything else to say to the listener, the watcher, some women that want to try it out?
The best piece of advice definitely is we have to get out of our comfort zones. Like we can't just sit in the comfort of our own bubble. And we're very guilty of doing that, and it's tricky to muster up enough courage to go out and try something. But I think if you say yes to a whole lot more of things and you decide, you make that choice and you commit to the choice, you'll find yourself in a much better position to be open to opportunities. You have to put yourself in the best position to all of a sudden be available to receive an opportunity that you didn't see coming. You have to put yourself out there a little bit more. Don't be afraid to fail so much, because actually no one really cares. If you fail, no one really cares. It's mainly you that are sort of putting that harsh pressure on yourself and negativity, putting yourself down. So get out of your comfort zone and you got to try it. Don't be afraid to fail. It's part of it.
Tiana, thank you so much. That was very powerful. Thank you for sharing
Thanks.
your journey.
Thanks for having me.